Welcome. Thank you all for joining me today. Today, we are going to be talking about setting up your business structure. And I am so excited because I have a very special guest with me here in Seattle, Washington, Miss Charmaigne Jones. Charmaigne is the CEO. I'm going to call her the CEO Blue Jay Consultants. And so, Charmaigne, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for considering me today and allowing me to be on your platform.
Absolutely. So let's get into this because I think that this is such a very important topic. I'm always encouraging people to have their own business. From a very foundational perspective, having at least a home-based business, because that helps you with your taxes, first of all.
Okay.
So, yes, and a lot of people don't know that. And so, even if you are a W-2 employee, you have a job, I think you should at least have a home-based business because, again, there's so many things that you can do as it relates to taxes. With that being said, though, there's just the reality that there's different business structures that are available to people. And it's so important that people understand the different business structures, why you need to have which one, etc. And so, word on the street is you are the expert in this subject matter. And so, I want to have a conversation about that.
Let's do it. I'm
Yeah.
excited. This is something I've been doing for a long time, making sure, just like you, I want to make sure that people understand, the privileges and perks that are out there for them to be able to save on their taxes, to be
Yes.
able to retain their wealth. It's important, especially for us, just to make sure that we understand what resources are out there and if there's any hurdles or obstacles in our way, how to get those out of our way so that we can save and have the same generational wealth that we pass down to our, loved ones as well. That's just something I preach.
Absolutely. And you know what? You said something so key. You talked about retaining money. And see, that's the thing about this, especially as it relates to taxes, because it's one thing to make a whole bunch of money, but you got to keep it. And, I'm out here, encouraging people and teaching people how to get wealth, but it's also important to understand how to keep it. And taxes
Good.
and how you deal with taxes. And as you
Yes.
said, the different perks and benefits that are out
Yes.
there, knowing the importance of that and knowing how to is
Yes.
so critical. So I want to just get into some of that
Let's
conversation.
do it. Let's do it.
Just talking about having a business and the different business structures that are out there.
Just for the listeners out there, I am a tax professional. I do have my P10 on the IRS website, and
Good
I've been
stuff.
doing business. I've been setting up business structures for about 10 years now. So I'm very well versed and have a lot of knowledge in the different business structures and types. And I'm excited to just go over those with any of you guys today, or with all of you guys today. Excuse me. Let's see. Let's start it out. Of course, what many people you would call a side hustle or just something that you're doing on the side. Most people are called, sole props, right? They're not official. They haven't necessarily registered with any type of state or local entity. But a sole prop is just a business that's usually in that person's name, and it's just that they're selling certain products or a service that they are good at. Maybe it could be graphic design, it could be anything from selling shoes to makeup to lip gloss, whatever you want to call it. And then what makes you an official sole proprietor is one of the very first beginning sole prop is what they call it, nickname, because it's a really long word. Some of the beginning stages is that you would register with your local state or your local city, just to say, hey, I'm out here, I'm selling products, because we have a lot of Karens out there, and you don't want to find yourself in a situation where you don't have the proper permits or licensing that you need to fulfill some of that work. And it's only $30 to register. It's very cheap. So it is the most minimal basic thing that you can buy to register yourself, $30 official dollars, and to say, hey, I'm out here and I'm selling products. That's it. How that affects your taxes It really doesn't. On your 1040, it is the most minimal thing. It just says, hey, I'm registering. You file this on your same, the way you file your taxes at the end of the year on your 1040, and it just increases your income. So let's say you made an extra two, three to $10,000, and whatever your W-2 income is. So let's say you made 40, 50,000, and then you made an additional 10 from your side hustle. You just put that you made 60,000 that year. That's it. You don't really get any perks. You don't get any write-offs. You don't get any benefits. And it is the very basic level of registering your business, but it doesn't give you a whole lot of options for writing off things or any perks of that nature.
Okay, so I have a question for you because there are a lot of people who you mentioned side hustles earlier, who do things like paparazzi. You know, I see that all over social media. People selling jewelry, total life changes. There's all these
Yeah,
different multi-level marketing companies that a
yeah,
lot of people are getting involved in as
yeah,
a side hustle. So can
yeah.
you speak to where that fits into business structures?
So a lot of people don't realize that when you do these multi-level marketing ventures, or even working for DoorDash or Uber Eats or Instacart or some of these things, is that you're issued a 1099 at the end of the year. And that essentially has solidified that you actually own a business, whether it was registered or not. You are a business owner. And I find, as when I go to file people's taxes, they're so confused because we file what's called a Schedule C, and I don't want to confuse anybody today, but a Schedule C it solidifies that you are a business owner, whether you knew it or not. And you do have the option to write things off as a business owner. But I find that many people with these side hustles don't even realize that they're a business and can get things like mileage reimbursement, can get write-offs for expenses and things of that nature, because they didn't even realize, nobody told them or sat them down and told them that they are a business and that they should keep the receipts or keep the records for their mileage or things of that nature. So when you find yourself doing those type of things, even the monetization for being a content creator on Facebook or on Instagram or Twitter, and you start getting some, or even YouTube, and you start getting, oh, they gave me money for, my content. These are things that the more you put yourself out there, they're going to issue a 1099. And what that signals to the IRS is that you are operating as a business, registered, licensed, or not. And you really should register at that point, because you want to use your EIN so that you can maximize the write-offs that you can get. And again, as we're talking, keep as much money in your pockets as possible, because you don't want me to start breaking down how much that's going to cost you in taxes, putting you in different tax brackets, putting you in situations where now you're having to pay an additional 15.3% in self-employment tax that they don't tell you about when you initially start these, multi-level marketings or even these side hustles. So on top of whatever tax bracket you fall in, whether it be 12 to 24 to 32, you end up paying an additional 15% on top of that in self-employment tax. So it can really run you anywhere from 30 to 40% of your dollar. You got $1 for every dollar you spend, 40 cents is going out the door, and then you only have actually 60 cents. So you're not actually saving money by doing these side hustles, even though you think it's making you extra money.
Yes, and you've said a lot, and I'm trying to stay on topic
I
myself
know, I
because I get
know.
so excited about this because people don't really understand um, the crossover or the alignment between having a business and taxes.
Yes,
Because we've been taught about taxes just from one perspective. But I
yes.
know you're here to talk about business structure, so I'm going to try to stick to the
Me too.
subject
Me too.
because I think it's so imperative that people, when you have a business, that you're doing the right things right as it relates to being registered and all those different elements. Because as you mentioned, there's so many write-offs that can help lower your taxes if you're doing the right thing. And so,
Yes,
again, I just want you to get into the different types of structures.
we're gonna do it.
What's the best one, for
Yep.
people to get? Because again, there's so many people out here that are doing things, and I don't
Yeah.
think they realize exactly what steps they should be taking to be a
Yeah.
legitimate business.
Well, I will definitely do my best to stay on track, but they do
It's all
all
good. We're
tie
gonna do what
in.
we do.
They do all tie into one another, and it is the
Hmm.
most, like, business compliance is the most number one thing that I stress. It, like, starting a business is just the very beginning, but maintaining that business, making sure you
Oh
can
yeah.
maximize your write-offs to keep every dollar in your pocket, they do all align, but that's not what I'm here for. So
Every time you say it, I get excited. I'm getting ready to jump out of my chair because
like,
I am
let's
all
keep
about.
on.
It's like you need to live your life like a
Yes,
business. But okay,
yes.
okay.
It, So the next structure is obviously an LLC. This is a limited liability company. And you know what I call this? This is just my words, not anything written anywhere. I call it a sole prop with legal protections.
Mm.
Meaning, you're still a sole proprietor, you file your taxes the same. It's just that if anyone were to ever sue you, your personal assets are separated from your professional assets, your business assets, and it limits your liability in some form or fashion. However, it's still a sole prop. You know, it's a pass-through entity that. Sorry, I keep talking about the IRS. That the IRS doesn't even recognize as a business. Like,
Oh wow.
it's just a sole prop. They call it a pass-through entity because all the taxes fall back onto the sole prop, the sole proprietor, which is you, the individual. And so it is just a sole prop with legal protections. That's the way I call it. And I'm not hating on it. If you have to stair step and get your start, I will tell you, I started my business 7 years ago. I started as a sole prop. And within a year, I advanced to an LLC. So it is okay to stair step if that is, like, if your goal is to keep going. But if you just settle and stay there, there's not a whole lot of outside of like financial benefits being an LLC, because again, you're still just a sole prop. You can get write-offs, but you're not maximizing your dollar. You're not making sure you retain as much. And I'll get into that in just a second when we jump into the next level of corporations. But like I said, that's it. Another thing I find that I really find that's important is with my LLC holders is that they use their home address. And in doing so, you make it very confusing to a judge or a lawyer to be able to differentiate what's professional, what's business versus what's
Wow.
personal, because you are using the same address, which now is public record and public knowledge. And unless you have a lease or something that they can say easily define, okay, this corner is, this 300 square feet is the only part of the home that is the office. Many people don't do that. So you leave it up to the interpretation of a judge to say, well, where's the corporate veil? You're piercing the corporate veil because you're saying, hey, this is both my home and my business. Well, which one is it? And who are we to determine? So you've only washed out your legal protection because you're saying, I don't want my house. If I own a house and I'm using that as my business address, I don't want them to be able to sue my home. But I'm also saying
Got
that this
you.
is my business address. Which one is it?
Okay. Yeah.
And I find
Oh no, go ahead.
I was going to say, I find many of my LLC holders do that. Plus, you put yourself in danger because anyone could Google your home address
Mhm.
because it's now public record and public knowledge. So you'd be surprised how many clients would be like, I know where you live now without you even telling me.
Wow. That's deep, and I'm glad you shared that because I think people should know that because I don't know if that's something that's widely known. Um, and so I'm glad that you shared that. Now, a question that I have for you about the LLC is: are people able to hire employees under an LLC?
You absolutely can hire employees under a LLC. You can hire employees. You would just need to go through the same, process when you go to register your business license. They'll ask you if you're going to be hiring any employees in the next 90 days. You'll just check those boxes depending on where you live. Every state is different. Here in Washington, you register that, and they automatically take you to L&I and unemployment, and they start sending you documentation, of course. And then, you'll register with ESD, which is the Employment Security Department. You'll register with L&I. These are ways that you can start paying your payroll taxes. You can do independent contractors as well. Independent contractors, you don't have to worry about, FMLA. You don't have to worry about some of these state benefits that you're required to pay. You just pay them a certain flat rate. And at the end of the year, you send them a 1099. So these are absolutely the two ways you can do under LLC. And you are not required in any manner to be a different type of structure to hire employees. So that's absolutely a good route to go. So I highly recommend it if you're going to do it. But again, being an LLC and having employees may not be your best route to save resources and money, because you end up paying more in the front end, through, like I said, taxes, unemployment, and you don't get to write many of these things off financially because you're an LLC.